Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over the differences between high ping and low ping in Fortnite, and more importantly, how you should be changing your playstyle based on your ping. So if you've played Fortnite somewhat seriously at really any point in your life, you probably know how much of a factor ping is. Fortnite has so many different mechanics that revolve around split-second movements that being even slightly delayed due to having a higher ping is an absolute game changer. And that doesn't even take into account a part of the game like wall replacing, where ping is literally the #1 factor in how successful you're gonna be. Plus, the thing that really sucks about ping is that it's almost impossible to improve. Yeah, sure, you can make small improvements by doing things like using wired connection or changing internet providers, but by far the most important factor is just where you live in the world. If you play on NAE servers, for example, a person with average or even bad internet who lives in New Jersey or Virginia is still gonna have better ping than someone with insane internet who lives in Florida or, I don't know, South Carolina. So as unfair as it is, unless you're willing to literally pack up your things and move to an entirely new location, the ping you have is pretty much the ping you got. And if you aren't at least somewhat revolving your gameplay around it, you're putting yourself at a really significant disadvantage. So without further ado, let's get into the best ways to utilize high ping, low ping, and everything else in between. Alright, so as time has gone on, box fighting has only become more and more popular in Fortnite. Players now realize that if they can become really dominant box fighters, they can get kills much quicker and use much less mats than if they were to instead engage in a build fight. However, if you're a high ping player, you're definitely going to be fighting somewhat of an uphill battle in most of the box fights you get into. Not all of them, because sometimes you inevitably will go against a player with similar or even higher ping than you, but as I've said before, if you're a high ping player, you always want to assume in box fights that the person you're up against has a better ping than you. It's just better to be safe than sorry in that regard, and since you have high ping, it's just basic probability that most players you fight against are gonna have better ping than you. Now obviously box fighting is a two-sided affair. You can either be on the offensive end where you're pressuring a box, or you can be on the defensive end where your box is being pressured. When it comes to the offensive side of things for high ping players, your biggest struggle is going to be breaking and replacing walls. If you're on 60 or 70 ping and your enemy's on anything under like 20, in my experience, he's just going to be able to hold that wall for so long. And you gotta think, when you're trying to break and replace a front wall, you're in a terrible position as a whole. You have a player directly in front of you inside the box who can make an edit play on you at any given time, but also you have your back turned to the entire rest of the map. So all it takes is for one player to roll up behind you, and you're gonna get absolutely lasered by an AR or possibly even sniped. So the worst thing you can do as a high ping player is just keep trying over and over and over again to break and replace the wall. Maybe give it 1 or 2 tries just on the off chance the player inside the box also has a high ping, or maybe you get lucky, but after that you need to change your strategy. Your best friend if you're a high ping player are always going to be phase exploits in box fights. There are a ton of super simple ones that take all of 2 minutes to learn, and I'm sure you can find videos of them on YouTube. Phase exploits are so much less dependent on ping than pretty much every other offensive box fighting strategy. I remember sitting in creative with my friend who has like 40 ping when I have about 5 on average, and with a lot of the exploits, he was literally getting through my turbo build every single time. It was actually pretty shocking to experience that firsthand. However, as good of a tool for high ping players as phasing techniques are, you also don't want to get too over aggressive with them either. Ideally, you want to go for a phase play when you've already dealt at least some damage to the enemy. If you haven't, it's better to play a little bit more patient, maybe go for high ground if you can't take their wall after 1 to 2 tries, and then sort of wait for them to push you and bait them into a high ground build back. battle. If you're a low ping player on the other hand, box fighting is actually ridiculously simple from the offensive side, and trust me because I would know if you take a look at my ping in the upper left corner, you never want to risk your life and phase unless the enemy is incredibly weak. You want to sit outside of the enemy's box and spam attempts to break and replace the front wall over and over again. As long as your timing is at least decent, you'll be able to break and replace on the majority of players you run into within about the first 2 to 3 tries. From there, it's as simple as making a wall edit and going for a shotgun shot, and then if the enemy tries to disengage, which they probably will, you want to follow them to the best of your ability. Super simple, I know, but that's the best way to abuse low ping because it's incredibly effective and it doesn't take all that much skill. Now let's get into the defensive side of box fighting. For high ping players, there are a few important rules that you want to follow here. First off, you should almost always be looking to disengage when on the defensive end of a box fight. Yes, guys like Clix and Benji can win defensive box fights all day every day, and they make that playstyle look very cool, but if you're a high ping player, you're simply at such a disadvantage in close range edit fights that you're really doing yourself a disservice if you willingly take them. Your edits register slower, your shotgun shots are delayed a lot of the time, and your enemy is going to replace your wall within 2 to 3 tries the majority of the time. So if I were a high ping player and I found myself in a box fight, I would do 2 things every time. First off, if you have to hold the front wall, stay constantly strafing while doing so. This way, if the enemy does get the wall and go for a quick edit, which is a super common play, you won't just be a sitting duck that's an easy headshot. But more importantly, you need to always be looking to either branch out or branch up. Branching out means building multiple 1x1s away from the enemy connected to the one that you're currently in. This obviously gives you extra distance and allows you to heal up and decide on your next move while the enemy chases you. But I would say the best option in most cases is actually branching up. This is when you escape out of your box from the roof or a back wall and then immediately start building for high ground. Getting to high ground is almost always your best bet if you're a high ping player, and that's because build battles are just much less dependent on ping than box fights are. Not always, because there are still edits and shotgun shots involved, but definitely nowhere near as much ping dependency as a close range box fight. For low ping players though, when you're on the defensive end of a box fight, since you'll most likely be able to hold the front wall for a long amount of time, you can really play it one of 2 different ways. If you're near full health and you feel comfortable with your editing skill and shotgun aim, I would still be looking for a lot of opportunities to make a quick edit on the front wall and land a shotgun shot on the enemy. Again, low ping is such an insane advantage for box fighting that you should abuse it even if you're on the defensive end, which is almost always the less favorable position. However, if you're low health or you don't feel great about trying to make an edit play, there's nothing wrong with following the high ping playbook and just disengaging. Definitely not the most favorable outcome here, but hopefully later in the fight you can force your enemy into the defensive side of a box fight and then you can abuse your low ping even easier. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. Do you consider yourself a low ping player, a high ping player, or maybe a medium ping player? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.